Good afternoon, happy Friday to all of you on Facebook. My name is Nicolette Springer and I am running for Orange County Commission District 4. For those of you who don't know the district, it is the southeast part of the county. It starts on to the John Young area by Hunters Creek and Meadowwoods, goes all the way to Lake Nona, to Waterford Lakes, to Avalon Park. It's a good portion of the county. And today we're going to talk to you a bit about myself, our candidacy, what we're doing with the campaign, what's going on in the county. And I have Katie with me. She's behind the scenes, so you won't see Katie. But I'll let Gabe introduce himself.
My name's Gabe. I'm helping Nicolette out in the campaign, and I kind of do a little bit of everything. And we're just working on getting you elected.
Yeah, and Gabe is our field coordinator. So Gabe he's the guy when we're doing canvassing and when we're doing phone banking and things like that. He's the guy organizing all of that, so you'll see him out and about. Katie is behind the scenes right now, and we will have her pop in some links when the questions come up. She's going to be the one giving us those questions. We will do our best to get to all the questions. Sometimes they go quicker than we can answer them, so if we don't have time to answer them during this 30 minutes, we will come back in and just answer them in text on the feed. So Katie, first thing I'm going to ask Katie to drop in is the map that I mentioned. So on our website, we have a map that shows you the entire district so that you'll know if you're a voter in that district or not. And Katie will put a link up so that you guys can look at that, because I can hold up a map, but you guys aren't going to be able to read it. But until Katie gets that up and until we see any questions, and if you are joining us, please say hello on the feed and drop in where you're watching from. We'd love to say hello to you. So if we have any visitors, Katie will kind of give me that cue. We can say hello to wherever you're watching from. So Gabe, what's new?
What's new? It's been a month since we've done our last Facebook Live.
So we do this every third
Friday.
Every third
of
Friday.
Each month. So it's been a month, and we've done quite a bit in this last month.
We've been busy.
We've been really busy. The first thing that we had mentioned it at the last Facebook Live was the Pride Gala.
We went to the Pride Gala. It was at the Orlando Museum of Art, and it was a great event hosted by Equality Florida. It was a beautiful gala. They had they presented many awards, and it was just a great evening mingling with the community, and just acknowledging those who work so hard to fight for equality. So that was great to be there and share those experiences with them. We had a good time.
I had a great time.
It's a beautiful venue. Had you been to the museum before?
I had been to the museum once, and it was just to check out the art, but to go to an event to actually mingle with people and get to know people in the community, it really was a different experience. So it was nice to see it in these two different lights.
Yeah, so it was really a lot of fun. We've also been out in the community a ton.
Yes, we have.
With all the holiday stuff coming up, there's not been a shortage of events for us to go to. So we went to several trunk or treats.
That's right, because that was after the whole Halloween weekend, and that was a whole lot of fun. We got to meet with a whole bunch of parents and kids, and your kids were out there.
My kids were out there. We had, I am having a moment of mommy brain, and I cannot remember what my children were for Halloween. No, Avery was Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I did have a moment. So Avery was Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and Emerson was Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman.
Yes, not to be confused with Spider-Man.
Of course not.
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman. And John and I went as Star Trek characters. We initially said we were going as Battlestar Galactica characters.
I remember that. And there was a huge debate at the last Facebook Live of which Battlestar Galactica you guys were going to represent.
We didn't get our act together soon enough because it's crazy busy. Between the campaign and the kids, we just didn't have time. Of course, we got the kids' costume, and then it came down to us, and we were like, oh, so it's in 2 days, and we don't have our stuff? So what do we have? So we had the Star Trek character costumes, so we wore those.
And you guys looked great. It was on your Instagram.
It is on Instagram, yeah. Katie I think we have a family photo on there. Katie could pop that link over. So since I mentioned Instagram, for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, please go right ahead and like that page. We share a lot more lighthearted stuff on Instagram. It's behind the scenes for campaign things, from some family stuff, and just a little bit more lighthearted campaign life and what it's like to be a woman and a mom running for office and juggling all of those things that go along with it. So Instagram's a great way to get to know me a little bit more on a personal level. What are some other things? We went to Cars and Coffee.
We went to Cars and Coffee here in Lake Nona.
Which is in Lake Nona, and that was the first, in the beginning of that month, we did that, and then we volunteered at the VA Center.
We did volunteer at the VA. It was the Friday or the Saturday before
Veterans Day. Mm-hmm.
And that was definitely something. I had never been to the VA here in Lake Nona, and it was a very interesting facility. It was very well put together. Very,
it's a beautiful facility.
Absolutely. It was. They treat the veterans in the area very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is the center we went to is called the Community Living Center, and it's at the Lake Nona VA. And it's essentially assisted living. They don't call it that anymore. They call it a community living center. And they have 150 beds there, and they're almost full. The nurse who I spoke to said that they only had a handful of beds open at the day that we were there. And we volunteered on a Sunday, and it was a great experience. We went out with our team and a few other volunteers who also happened to be vets, and we chatted with the guys out there, and then we played trivia with them, and we did okay on the trivia game.
Our team came in last.
We did.
No, we were last all the way up until the final round where we betted all of our points and we ended up doubling our points.
Yeah.
So we didn't do too bad for ourselves, but it was definitely a lot of fun to get to mingle with the veterans there and get to hear their stories and then have some fun with them.
Yeah, it was nice to chat with them. It was really great to hang out with those guys for an hour or two and chat with them and see what experiences they had to share, and just we really had fun playing the trivia games. I think it would be a good idea if next time we go, if we maybe create the trivia questions for them.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
But
that was a good time. So we enjoyed being out to the VA. And if you haven't been out to the VA, you can go volunteer. So I encourage you to do that, to give a call over to the VA Center and talk to them about their volunteer opportunities, because it's a beautiful facility out here in Lake Nona, and they do serve a great deal of our veterans in the community. And the assisted living section, the community living section, is just one small portion of what they do at the VA.
And if you're looking for a day to do it, I remember the nurse was telling us that Sundays were their least staffed and their most necessity days. So if you have a Sunday afternoon where you're not doing anything and you're looking to just get out into the community, the VA is always looking for helpful people to help out the nurses there, and it helps out the community. So.
Yeah. So Katie, do we have any questions that we need to field so far, or should we can I? No problem. Okay, so no questions. So I'm gonna tell you about a question that I get most frequently. My most frequent question is, what does a commissioner do? And so I'm going to hold up a chart. It's going to have a lot of things on it. You're not going to be able to read it, but Katie will pop in a link, right? So this is a chart that shows you exactly what the commission governs. And the commissioner spot is this one right up here, and then everything below it of all the agencies that we oversee their budget. We oversee the way that they're executed here in the community. And so these are all services, and I'll just pop in a few. So services like your trash, your law enforcement, fire safety, animal services. There's a ton for me to list, but Katie will pop in that chart. And I think it's important when you're talking to a candidate for this office or for any office that you ask them about their knowledge about what the commissioner actually does. So these offices right here are and agencies are the things that we govern, and we take the tax dollars that come from the residents here in Orange County, and we facilitate them out into these agencies, and that they provide services to our residents. So as I said, water treatment, law enforcement, fire safety, those are just a few. Animal services. The list is really pretty extensive. But I want to talk about our sheriff department today.
That's right.
So our sheriff's department is 40% of the budget from the commission. So it's our largest big piece of the budget that we oversee goes to our sheriff and to law enforcement. And now that we're getting into the holiday season, the sheriff has some really good tips on how to keep yourself safe during this holiday shopping season, because it is unfortunately an opportunity for people to take advantage of others during this time. So Katie can pop in the link to the sheriff's office, and they have a whole page of information on how you can best keep yourself safe, just some safety tips about just best practices for making sure your cars are locked, double check when you leave, don't assume that you've locked it even if it's in the driveway, not to leave packages in visible sight, report things that don't seem up to par. If you see something that looks questionable, report it as soon as possible. All of those other tips, there's lots of them on there. And then there's also some safety about your Christmas tree if you celebrate Christmas, and the safety of that with the lights and all those other kind of good things. And obviously, if you're putting lights on your house, this is the safety that I have a conversation with my husband on a regular basis. He likes to get on the roof. It makes me very nervous. I don't think the sheriff actually talks about not getting on your roof. That might be a whole different... That's just your personal choice. Do you get on the roof?
No, we don't get on the roof back home. We don't...
You don't get on the roof?
No, we just leave it there at the gutter and we just kind of call it a day at that point. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes those houses are really ornate and you got to get on the roof.
So the way my house is, we have a roof that's on our garage and then we have our second story roof. So John has to put a ladder on the roof of the garage to get to the second story. So he has one ladder that goes to the roof of the garage and then the second ladder that goes to... That's what makes me nervous. Yeah, that's my face every time.
Never mind. Every time. It's not worth it. Don't put a ladder on your roof. That's my personal
That's my
opinion.
face every time he does it. I was like, I don't know. So go out, make sure you are safe during the holidays. This is a time for celebrating each other and celebrating our families, but it's also a time where we need to be vigilant about our safety and making sure that we're not putting ourselves in a position where, crime is obviously going to happen, but we don't want to make that opportunity simpler for a criminal.
Correct.
So what other things can we talk about? Any other questions, Katie? You got...
John says don't look down.
Okay. So no questions so far, just suggestions for my husband. He has no comment about whether or not he's going to get on the roof. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear to assume that he's just going to do it and just not look down. So, wise tips from him, not anything I'm going to...
You don't want to get on the... You don't think that that's part of your campaign duties, is to get on the roof?
I'm going to have to respectfully decline. I'm going to have to
I appreciate that.
I'm just going to have to say no.
Okay.
I'll line them up at the gutter for you. That's the extent of my...
I appreciate you taking one for the team.
Yeah, that's the extent of my holiday decorating skills.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great opportunities and events going on in the community over the next couple weeks for not only the holidays, but tomorrow one of the agencies that fall under the commission is our landfill, and tomorrow at the landfill is Recycling Days, Orange County Recycling Days, and it is at the landfill, which is on Young Pine Road, and you can look at their website. Katie will drop the link. They are having a family-oriented event where you can go visit, you can get a tour, you can learn about the landfill, you can learn about how trash is processed. It's a good opportunity for you to go out with your family. I believe they'll have some kid activities and different learning experiences for you and your kids to teach them the best practices for what we do with our trash and why it's so important that we think twice before we put anything in the landfill. We want to make sure that it's going to the right area, whether it be the landfill or the recycling bin. We want to make sure we're making those good choices. And so that is something that's in the community right now. Let's see, when else are we going to be out? What do we have going on? We've got...
So we definitely do have Cards and Coffee coming up again.
We do, and that is the first Saturday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So that is December 2nd, Katie. Is that December 2nd? So the first Friday of the month, it's December 2nd, and it is off of Narcoossee in Lake Nona. It's in the Sam's and Walmart Shopping Center. It's actually right in front of the Sam's Club. And it starts at 8 a.m. and it goes from 8 to 11, and we will be out there tabling. So we'll have a table and we'll have a booth. Last month we gave out donuts. We will probably do the same this month because that went over really well. I mean, who doesn't want a donut?
That's correct.
Are you Oh, and then there's multiple toy drives going out throughout the community. I highly recommend you guys find one with an organization. I know that so many of them, Katie's going to pop in some links for the ones that we have seen over the community. Cars and Coffee will have a toy drive at the December 2nd event. So you can bring a toy. They're going to have a booth where they're going to be collecting those. And the main beneficiary of the Cars and Coffee toy drive is going to be Nemours, I believe. So most of the funds that Cars and Coffee generates does go to Nemours. They make a contribution to them after every event. So that's a wonderful organization. And I'm told there's a question about fire safety. Okay, so there's an open house at Orange County Fire Rescue tomorrow from 11 to 2 at Station 30. And that would be another great opportunity to take your family out to. So you could stop by Station 30 and then head over to the landfill for Recycling Day. You can have a whole community-driven, learn all about the community agencies on one day with your family tomorrow.
Right.
Who decides where new fire stations go if the response time isn't fast enough?
who decides where new fire stations go if response time isn't fast enough? Well, there is a process that goes into play about how they decide where those stations go. And the fire chief makes those assessments and brings the recommendation to his supervisors, which eventually make it up towards the commission. And we do have some new fire stations coming out in the Avalon Park area. And those were planned. They're planned relatively far down the road, a couple years in advance. We kind of know where we think that the station should go. So there were 2 that were slated to open soon, and they are still on target to do so. We could find the link and let you know when those exactly will open, but I know that there are those 2 that are going to be opening up in the Avalon Park area. Thank you for the question. So Gabe, what are your traditional holiday activities for Thanksgiving, since that's next week?
For Thanksgiving, we typically just have family come over and we just...
Turkey?
Last year was the first time we had a turkey.
Really?
Yeah. Right, was it last year? We've only had turkey once, and it was...
What do you normally serve then?
My dad's a huge fan of ham,
Okay.
so we have like a holiday ham type thing with like pineapple and stuff. I'm not a big fan of ham myself. But typically it's just traditional food.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much different than what we typically have on a regular
Yeah.
day. We just have it in more family spirit, more like, we're all together type.
Do you have a
environment.
favorite dish that you're like, I must have this dish on the holidays? I don't know. I'm not a big turkey fan. I'll eat it, but really for me, Thanksgiving is about the side dishes.
Okay.
Like I would load my plate with more side dishes than I will turkey.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would too. We typically just have like rice and stuff like that at our house. So I guess that's my must-have dish.
Okay.
If it's not there, then I'm gonna say, are
John's
we really celebrating
parents-
Thanksgiving today? Is this what's going on?
Yeah,
There's no
John's
rice?
parents have a traditional sweet potato casserole, and it's his grandmother's, who's a nice Southern lady, and so it has no less than 2 sticks of butter in it. I'm fairly confident.
That sounds deliciously unhealthy.
Yeah, it has like a praline kind of sugary thing on top of it, and then the butter is not only in the crusty, delicious nut topping, but it's also in the casserole part of it. So I may be underestimating when I say there's 2 sticks of butter in it.
That definitely sounds as southern as it gets.
Yes, it's definitely absolutely 100%. So that's something that's always on the table because John really likes that sweet potato. To him, it's what he grew up with.
Okay.
I don't have a traditional dish that I'm like must have, but I do just enjoy the variety of sides. Because I feel like this is what normally when you have a meal, you just have like 2 sides.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like at Thanksgiving, there's like 7 or 8 different sides, and you're like, this is amazing.
It's a lot more choice.
It's a lot more choices.
I'm gonna have to say though, a huge part of why I love this holiday season and why Thanksgiving is really cool is because there's an excuse to have a lot of dessert, at least at our house. And I'm a huge sugar fan. This is like this is a running joke in the campaign that I'm always having a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make our coffee before the live starts because then they're afraid that I'll be judged for how much sugar I put in my coffee.
Yeah, we would never allow you to see how much sugar he actually puts in the coffee. You would be concerned for his health. It is a lot of sugar.
I'm gonna keep that a secret. But there's always an excuse to have a lot of different desserts, and my favorite is my mom's flan. Like nothing beats that, having that there for Thanksgiving or for really any reason at all. But it's just a little more special when you have all your family together and then that too.
So does she make that year round, or is that something she
Yeah.
makes? Okay, so my mom makes an apple pie.
Okay.
And I've made this apple pie too. It is a very intense apple pie. It takes forever. It's got a bazillion moving parts. You got to bake it 2 or 3 times. You got to stir the thing up. It's got a topping. So I refuse to make this pie any other time of the year, but for the holidays, because it's so much work.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually retired from making apple pies. My mom makes the apple pie now.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to try it. I'm not a huge fan of apple
It
pie,
has
but I'm willing to give it a try. If it's that
Custardy
interesting.
center, so it's slices of apples, and the part around it is like it's a sour cream custard.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be refrigerated. You usually serve it cold, so it's kind of a different apple pie because you serve it not necessarily warm.
Right. Most apple pies are like supposed to be like hot.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
Room temperature? It's supposed to be hot.
I feel like it's typically hot. I feel like
It
most
could
apple
be
pies.
hot. It would be delicious hot.
I bet. I mean, I don't eat apple pie enough. I know the flan that my mom makes is always really cold.
Yeah,
that
course.
needs to be cold.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess I have a softer spot for cold desserts.
So let's talk. Last Facebook Live, we talked about candy corn or no candy corn,
Mhm.
right? And that was like the controversial whether or not you like candy corn or not. What about cranberry sauce? How do you like it? Is it the relish kind, like a chutney, or is it canned?
I don't
You don't.
care for.
You don't like cranberry sauce?
No, I don't. I don't want to say I don't like it because I haven't tried it, so I'm not going to knock it before I try
at
it.
the campaign holiday party, I will have the two, and
Okay.
we will have a judge.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll be able to give you a more detailed response to that
Okay.
at the next Facebook Live. But I've never had cranberry sauce that I'm aware of.
So my brothers and I
So-
only like the chutney kind, but my
Okay.
dad only likes the can.
Okay.
So my mom buys both, and then but you know what the can looks like, right? Because it's like a gelatin in a can. So when it comes out on the plate, you're literally serving what looks like a mold of a can.
Mmm.
So it's very appetizing.
Mmm. 5-star.
So but that's kind of a controversy of like whether or not you go from the can or if you can make it yourself.
I've never had it, so I'm guessing I'm gonna have to.
All right, so
open
I
up
will
my
have it at the
horizons.
holiday party for the campaign, and we will make sure that we take votes and see how that goes. So, are any other questions, Katie?
Somebody's favorite dish is candied yams. That's all.
Yes.
Candy yams, that's similar to sweet
Jessica-
potato casserole.
Jessica Crosby's favorite side dish is candy yams.
Candy yams.
Another thing that I've never had before. I don't know. I Thanksgiving, I guess, is pretty vanilla at my house, where we just have like what we normally have, but in a more family setting. So I've never
Just
had
more of it.
Just
The
more.
quantity
Yes,
is more.
a lot of food. There's a lot of food.
So, I guess after Thanksgiving, are you a Black Friday fan?
Absolutely.
Do you go out or just online?
I don't like online shopping too
Okay.
much. I like going to the store. I like being with
I'm
a
the
lot of
opposite.
people. Yeah,
My goal
I
is
know,
to get
it's-
everything online.
It's an unpopular opinion to like want to go
Well,
to
I
the
just
store.
think it's so busy. Like, having the two kids, running the campaign, John's running his business, and then the idea of having to go out to the mall and battle with people with something that could be dropped at my door. Like,
Right.
I cannot beat that convenience.
No, that for sure.
I wouldn't have the time to go right. I mean, I want to think I would have the time, but the reality is that's not happening.
You're just always doing so much at the house and so much for the campaign. Like it just doesn't
Yeah,
make
it's
any
just too
sense
much.
to.
But I think
sacrifice a
that's
night like
most
that.
families. I think because you're a single guy with no kids,
That's true.
you have the luxury to go fight the people at the mall.
We go as a family typically.
Oh, you do?
yeah,
Black
because I'm
Friday
going to
thing?
be with my family this
Okay.
this Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
So I'll be with them, and then typically it's a relatively new tradition for us, but
Mhm.
it's something that we like to do. We like to go see what's out there. And
I think
see
with
what
Black
deals we
Friday,
can
though,
snag.
you need to have something specific in mind that you're going to get. It's not a day to browse.
No, yeah, it's a little bit of both. We're gonna go find exactly what we need, grab it, and go home. But while we're looking for what we're looking for, let's take a peek around. Let's see. Oh, that looks good. That's on sale. Oh, we'll take
I just
that.
don't think the lines are worth just the browse. Like, if I had a mission, if I was like, I'm going to get this thing,
Right.
then I'd be like, okay, I'm dedicated to waiting online for X number of time, X length of time. But if I'm just like, oh, I found this cute shirt and pair of socks, I'm going to be like, nah.
No, I would. I mean, we go for more, and when
Yeah.
you find the shirt and the socks, you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
just say,
it's
well,
true.
like,
It's kind of the
I'm gonna
accessory.
wait in line anyways. I might as well take this for like the $3 that they're selling.
Gotcha. Okay, so questions, Katie? Any questions back there? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the county and about me as a candidate and any of the other things. So those of you who are just joining us, my name is Nicolette Springer, and I am running for Orange County Commission District 4. And we've invited you here to have coffee with Gabe and I to let you know a little bit about the campaign, get to know me a little bit personally, chat with you about any questions you may have about my candidacy, about us running the campaign, about any of the activities that we'll be out and about doing in the next couple months. You may see us coming door to door. Gabe is our field coordinator, and so we will come knock on the door and introduce yourself, get to know the voters. We are also asking for, what are we asking for at the door?
Petitions.
Petitions.
That's right. I was like, petitions.
Gabe's like, candy? Can we get candy?
Can we get candy? No, so in order for us to qualify to be on the ballot, we plan to qualify via petition rather than to pay to be on the ballot. So a huge goal for the field plan right now is to go door to door and ask for people to say, yeah, Nicolette should be on the ballot. So that's what you accomplish with the petitions. And on the bottom of our petitions and on the bottom of a lot of other petitions, you can sign up to vote by mail. It's the easiest thing possible. You sign your name at the bottom, and the supervisor of elections sends you the ballot on election day. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to leave your couch.
Well, they send it before election day, 30 days
Oh,
before.
yeah, that's right. There's a
30 days
little
before-
window.
There's a window. So 30 days before election, you would get the ballot in your mailbox, and you would be able to submit your vote by mail, and you can track your ballot just like it's a FedEx package or
That's
an
right.
Amazon package. So you could go online to the supervisor of elections, and you would be able to track it. So once it gets through to the system, you'll know if it has been registered in as a vote or not. If you would know if it will be registered in as a vote or not. And so the reason that we ask you guys to do that is because honestly, we're all very busy. And sometimes you lose track of what it is. And the election for us, our first election is going to be August the 28th. That's when we're going to have the first election. And that is going to narrow the field down. There's potential for us to win on August 28th. And we hope that you'll all come out and push those numbers. And if not, then we'll go to a runoff in November. But most of our priority right now is the August 28th election day, and we need everybody to get out there and vote. And if you can't make it on August 28th of 2018, then we're asking you to cast your ballot by mail. And to do that, it's very simple. They have changed the rules in the state so that you can actually register to vote by mail now. And Katie could pop in that link for registering to vote online. And then once you register to vote, you could also register to receive your ballot by mail. And then 30 days prior, you will receive that ballot, and then you will be able to cast your ballot just as if you would if you were in the polling station, and you can mail it in. If you don't want to mail it in, you could actually bring it to the supervisor of election, and they will take it from you right there. So you have options, but it's always important to plan out your election day and know how you're going to get to the polls. So there will be other positions on the ballot coming up in August, not just mine. So it's an important election for all of us to make sure that we're educated on who it is that we're casting our vote for. And so we encourage you all to make sure you have a voting plan. And that the best voting plan is to make sure that you have a ballot at home so that if something happens on August 28th, you know that you've already casted your vote. Things happen. We all have family obligations or work obligations that come up at the last minute. So having that voting plan is essential to making sure that you can cast your vote and use your democracy.
And
exercise your democracy.
Correct. And making sure that, speaking of casting your vote, we have a question here for. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Casting your vote. So
casting your vote for your commissioner in District 4.
Yes.
The question was, I don't know if I'm in District 4. Is it the same as the school board district?
No, it is not always. So District 4 has multiple school board districts in it. So most of District 4 is school board seat 2. But there are some portions of the district that have a different school board. And what you can do is you can go to the Supervisor of Elections website and you can put in your name and your address in there, and it will tell you every position that you can vote for. So you'll see a breakdown of everyone that you can vote for, starting out at the federal level, going all the way down to local. So it'll start out, and obviously everyone gets to vote for president, and we all get to vote for our senators. But it will tell you which Senate seat, it will tell you which representative seat, same for the state level government, and then it breaks it down to county as well. So it would be District 4 for those of you in the district. If you live in Orange County, the elections that are up are the evened number commissions. So it's District 2, 4, and 6 that will be on the ballot. But there will be other things on the ballot as well. So even if you don't live in 4, it's very important that you do still come out to the polls and vote for the other seats that are going to be opening up in August.
That's right.
And if you go to our website, we have a link to the Supervisor of Elections so that that's easily accessible to you. And my website is nicolettespringer.com. And if you go there, you'll see a link to where you can not only download the petition if you'd like to sign the petition, and the petition is not a vote for me, it's not an endorsement, it's simply saying that you agree that I can be on the ballot, and you can mail that petition to us. The address is at the bottom of the website, and or you can email us, and we will be happy to coordinate with you to come pick it up from you. If you prefer not to mail it, we're happy to come pick it up. You can find us across all social media. So our website again is nicolettespringer.com. We're also on Instagram. Obviously, we're on Facebook, where we are right now. We're on Twitter as well. And our email, you can email me directly, and that's Nicolette at nicolettespringer.com. Gabe is Gabriel at nicolettespringer.com. Katie is Catherine at nicolettespringer.com. One of us will be get back to you as soon as possible. I wanted to say thank you all for taking the time to sit with us today and have some coffee. I hope that you will join us next month on the third Friday of the month for Coffee with the Candidate. And if you have any questions that we didn't get to, please pop them in the comments and we'll do our best to get to them as soon as possible. Thank you very much. And again, it's nicolettespringer.com. Have a great day, guys, and happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, guys.